Tiffany Calandro up at the top of your screen, up against Jason Weiss down at the bottom. Both players 2-0, so a perfect start to their days. Let's see who can continue their undefeated run. Mountain go to kick things off here for Tiffany. Turn passes to Jason.
So this will be an interesting one because the as you kind of established for us, if the Sultai Reanimator deck is able to do its thing and combo off under the best conditions, it's going to beat basically anything that any deck in the standard format can present.
Yeah.
So how do you address that? Well, you can dismantle the combo, you can counter their spells, you can hate on their graveyard, or you can also just go fast and give them less time to set up. So that's what we're going to see in this matchup is, can Tiffany and the red deck just blitz Jason down quickly enough that he can't really set up what he needs in his graveyard or find his key combo pieces.
Yep. Razorkin Needlehead on turn 2, dealt with there by Bitter Triumph, an excellent discard outlet for this Reanimator deck. So there we see one of the key cards in the deck, Bringer of the Last Gift. It's basically Living Death on a stick, but you have to cast it. So very important wording on Superior Spider-Man that he enters as a copy of, he is cast. So that will then destroy everything and bring back all the things that weren't destroyed in that fashion. So super cool deck. I love it.
The Sultai Reanimator deck has backup plans on backup plans. And so maybe we'll get to see some of the cool, corner case stuff, the ones and two ofs that they have. But yeah, as you mentioned, Ailey, the number one game plan is to cast Superior Spider-Man, which enters the battlefield as a copy of a creature in the graveyard. And therefore, with Bringer of the Last Gift, you can simulate casting it from your hand with Superior Spider-Man, come in, get the triggered ability.
I was going to say, hang on, we might not get there because now we have a Nova Hellkite alongside a Screaming Nemesis and a Burnout Bastronaut. So there's going to be Bitter Triumph taking care of the big dragon, making sure it's not going to come back from Warp at a later stage, but 3 damage in here for the Screaming Nemesis. Down to 11 goes Jason.
Jason putting up, both players doing pretty well. Tiffany is presenting a very thorough, resilient, and high-pressure offense. Jason doing a good job defending himself, though. One of the things that I was worried about with the Sultai deck is just a really, really high mana curve. We're talking lots of cards that cost 7, 8, and 9 mana. So against a red deck, if you just don't draw, the cheap half of your library, you can be in big trouble. But Jason has actually drawn 2 Bitter Triumphs, which that's it. In game 1, those are his 2 cheap removal spells that he has access to in his entire 60 cards. So, can't really ask for a better defensive start. And now the question is going to be, can he find Superior Spider-Man, Zombify, whatever he needs to actually win the game.
Yeah, now's the time to start enacting the winning condition here for Jason because he hasn't got that much more removal, and these creatures will kill him eventually. He's at 11. His lands hurt for the most part, so let's see what he decides to do here, if anything, up against the Screaming Nemesis. He's going to block. Burnout Bastronaut gets the pump, so the damage will come through, courtesy of the Screaming Nemesis' second ability, and now Jason can't gain any life. There's not that many things in here that gain life, but, they'd be nice at this point.
Yeah, the one that comes to mind is Arden the Usurper, which could present some lifelink damage. But, yeah, having to block Screaming Nemesis with a 2/2 is a tough way to do it. You're basically preventing 1 damage from the attack. But it could be that Jason just actually wanted the Steam Core Scholar in the graveyard in case he was able to find Superior Spider-Man. Looks like he wasn't, and we're on to game 2 pretty quickly and decisively.
So how hard against a mono-red deck do you think you have to mulligan to Superior Spider-Man and Bringer in hand?
It's a really, really good question because the more fast and unforgiving your opponent's deck, it's definitely true that you want to mulligan more and have a higher standard of what kind of hand you're going to keep. However, one of the things that I always like to coach people on is you can't mulligan to something that's not there.
Sure.
Right? So Jason has a couple, to be more precise, he has 2 removal spells in his deck. you can't really mulligan until you have a perfect hand with one of those 2 removal spells.
Yeah.
So you have to be realistic about what your deck is likely to deliver before and after sideboarding. But what I like to do in this kind of situation is I like to mulligan such that I'm pleased with my first couple of turns. So if Jason can find like a big creature and a way to discard it, maybe that's enough, and hope that the Zombify or the Superior Spider-Man comes off the top. You're not going to be able to have everything rolled up in your opening 6 or 7 cards, but you just do the best you can.
Alrighty, well, friends, if you are ever looking for Magic product, if you're ever looking for events, be sure to head on over to SCGCon. Also, if you'd like some free shipping on orders with $100 or more in singles, be sure to head on over to StarCityGames.com. Go and check out the cards you want to buy. If there's any sweet deck you see here this weekend that you want to build in any format, be sure to go and check out StarCityGames.com. They've always got some sweet deals on, always great bargains and discounts, so go do that in between rounds while we're sideboarding. So, players getting ready for game number 2 here. We did see the sideboards there briefly. What do you think from Jason's side he's bringing in to tie things up here against Tiffany?
Basically every cheap card.
Yeah.
The most important one, perhaps, is going to be Harvester of Misery, which can serve as a removal spell on turn 2, a board sweeper on turn 5, and just kind of an acceptable reanimation target that self-enables. So, you discard the Harvester of Misery on turn 2, kill your opponent's creature, take some of the pressure off, then it's there ready for you when you need it for your turn 4 or 5 big reanimation play.
We do love a card that can put itself in the bin and doesn't need any extra help courtesy of a Bitter Triumph or, any looting effect that might be necessary for some of the other bigger targets.
There's a Stab, there's a Shoot the Sheriff, maybe Scrap Shooter, just as kind of like an oversized body to have that mix of removal spells, creatures on the battlefield, and a combo finish to kind of throw as many stumbling blocks in front of the mono red deck as you possibly can.
So this deck, it's kind of pick your poison. A lot of people have different targets. I think the consistent thing to find is Bring of the Lost Gift, just because it's so powerful. But we see a couple of one-ofs in here, like Valgavoth, Terror Eater. There's also Myojin of Night's Reach in the sideboard. So what matchup would you bring the Myojin in for?
Well, boy, that's a blast from the past. It's originally from the Kamigawa expansions, from that's barely making the cut to be legal in Modern, but it was available in Foundations and is actually really sweet alongside Superior Spider-Man, because this is another one where you have to... Well, it says on the card you have to cast it from your hand, but Superior Spider-Man actually serves as a workaround to sort of clone that effect and get the, what is it called, an immortality counter?
Divinity, I think.
Divinity counter. Yeah. So you can make the opponent discard their hand, which is really useful in a matchup that's about kind of going over the top, where there are some decks in Standard where you'd have to worry about, I'm going to combo off with my Reanimator deck and possibly not win the game. Like think Simic Omniscience or Reanimator Mirror Match, something like that, where you just have to really drop the hammer by saying, okay, you have nothing left to continue fighting after I get this one.
Well, doubtful we'll see it in this matchup, considering Mono Red usually is hellbent for the middle way of the match. As we get ready to go here, does Jason like this hand? Nope. Says so. We're going to mull to 6 here for Jason Weiss.
Yeah, I think he heard your advice to mulligan aggressively in a fast matchup.
You find something that will get you the win by turn 4 or you're dead. Oh, gross. I think one of the most disgusting combinations I saw with the Sultai Reanimator is already having the bringers in the bin. Some players play the big vampire, the, what's his name now? I've forgotten. The 8-mana one from Murders at Karlov Manor.
Is it Vein Ripper?
That's the one, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Vein Ripper, yeah. Some people have that there, so, bring everything back from the yard, but then you have your bringers going off a second. No, you don't. Something else wiped the board. But yeah, then everything died again, and it was just like a one-shot to the dome. I was like, that is disgusting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's one thing to put a bunch of power and toughness on the battlefield and pass the turn.
Yeah.
It's another to just get the game over with in one go.
Easy peas. Much prefer that, especially if you're sitting at like 2 or 4. which mono red can certainly deal with. Let's see, are we happier with this hand for Jason Weiss? Tiffany Calandro, ready to do mono red things. Cool. Let's boogie. Here we go. Game number 2, kicking things off with a Blumenmarsh. Mountain, do we got a 1-drop? Nope. No 1-drops with Tiffany just yet. Botanical Sanctum and Overlord of the Bilmer. Oh, this is my favorite Overlord.
Yeah, this one
So sweet.
has been a big performer in a lot of different formats.
Alrighty. So turn 4 looking good here if we can get a reanimation target for, or not reanimation, a copy for Jason Weiss. Hey, Magebane Lizard. Oh, this guy's so good. Against anyone playing non-creature spells. Able to ding the opponent, put some more pressure on the life total.
Yeah, that's a sideboard choice from Tiffany. It's kind of interesting because if you just quickly look at Jason's deck list, you're like, wow, pretty large density of creatures. However, it's important to note that some of the most important cards in the deck that need to be cast are the non-creatures. You know, the cash grabs to sit up, the removals to set up, the removal spells that came off the sideboard, the Zombify or the Smuggler's Surprise that might actually win the game.
Yeah, so thankfully it's not a flurry of spells usually like the Is It Prowess deck would be up against this Magebane Lizard. So
Ailey, there's a play that we're going to see somewhat often this weekend across a variety of decks, but Steam Core Scholar, you can get off easy by discarding just an instant or sorcery card, but you always have the option to discard 2, which in a deck like Sultai Reanimator, Jason might actually see as a benefit. So he voluntarily discarded Arden as a second card, even though he didn't have to, and we might see why in just a moment.
Land 4. Yes. Yes. Cavern of Souls. Naming. Man. Or Avatar or Demon. I don't know. Pick your poison there. Whatever you have the most of in hand. Are you going for it? I mean, nah. Not really any good targets just yet, huh?
Yeah, so here's the thing is Arden is super powerful when you have a stocked graveyard.
Nice. Yeah.
But
right now, not so much.
It is a legend, so it's like, okay, I could play Superior Spider-Man, copy Arden, bring back Arden, but then I have to legend rule one of them, you know, so it's not, you're not really getting super far ahead there, and I think Jason is making the judgment call that he can take one more turn to set up a more stocked graveyard in order to get more out of his combo turn.
Awaken the Honored Dead, such a sweet card from Tarkia Dragonstorm, able to kill a thing, mill some stuff, and gets you a key card back from the graveyard here. So Jason looking good in this matchup so far, pressing his advantage. Not taking all that much damage either from these little pingers on Tiffany's side of things, but here comes a Screaming Nemesis. Oh, nice. And a Hired Claw. So basically that's the curve you want to see as the mono red player, right? Now just turn things sideways.
All of the mountains tapped, all of the creatures tapped. Those are the good signs for the mono red player.
Absolutely. Steam Core Scholar, I think, is going to get in the way. It does have first strike on Tiffany's turn, so it's just going to die, poor little guy, but is the most damage that Jason can soak up there.
Yeah, and importantly, he wants that creature in his graveyard.
Yeah.
We're going to see a big, meaningful, random mill of 3 cards with Awaken the Honored Dead.
Yep. Draw first,
and
then it triggers.
We're very likely to see Arden the Usurper hit the battlefield.
And bring his own friends to the party. Ooh.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Firepower.
Gimme! Oh, man, if only there was a bringer in there right now. Hell yeah. We're going to see Spidey anyway. Here comes Superior Spider-Man. Arden is on the board. He stole the Spidey suit.
All right, so Superior Spider-Man, you may have it enter. You can just have a 4/4 for 4, which is, you know, there are times when that's going to be appropriate, but You may have it enter as a copy of any creature card in any graveyard. In this case, it comes in copying Arden the Usurper, which then brings in a copy of
Cards?
another Arden the Usurper. Now, I'm interested to see here. Would these two cards?
Where's the other Arden coming from?
Okay. So that was just the way it's displayed. There's not actually an Arden on the battlefield. The Arden is returning Steam Core Scholar as a demon.
Yes. That
with Menace, Lifelink, and Haste. And, importantly here, Vigilance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super big.
So I think this is going to be really
5 life.
tricky for Tiffany to overcome. The ways that she could approach it would be finding removal, which would, of course, have to target the Arden first. Could try to get some damage on the Screaming Nemesis to at least stop worrying about the lifelink from the demons.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you can do that, you're going to be dead in the span of 1 or 2 turns here.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. Like, there might be some, cheeky shenanigans with 2 of the Witchstalker Frenzies whacking. Couldn't even do that because it would just die on the first one, right? The Screaming Nemesis, just to get that face damage.
Well, we agree that Witchstalker Frenzy would be one of the best cards to have here because you could just kill the Superior Spider-Man, which gets you out of, a little bit out of the most urgent trouble.
Yeah, take off the lifelink, the Menace, and the Haste off of the Steam Core Scholar demon. So here comes the attack. Razorkin Needlehead hanging back. But we are going to see some extra dings here from our lizards. This big old 5/5. At the moment has lifelink. Let's see where he's going. Yeah, Hard Claw. The problem child here amongst all of these little lizard friends.
And notably not putting Arden into combat.
All right. Any effects before damage? Okay, no. So 3, 4, 5 as well. Gain the 5.
Okay, so this is a really nice play. Sunspine Lynx is going to deal 5 damage right off the bat and stop any future life gain. Tiffany, I think, would have been better served to play that before combat in order to worry less about the lifelink on blocks.
Sunspine Lynx, great little kitty. Sideboard card for most of the mono red decks. 4 mana for a 5/4. That's pretty busted. And also punishes these greedy mana bases, so love to see it. Man, Bloomburrow is such a great set.
Yeah, Bloomburrow has a lot of cards that have been really, really meaningful in Standard, including a couple that got banned. The
R.I.P. Heartfire Hero.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. Now, back to Jason's turn. Looks like we just got a quick judge call to confirm something here. So if he hadn't gained the life there, he'd be sitting at 5, which is a lot more manageable for the mono red side of things.
Yeah. Now, the first question we're going to have to answer is, will Tiffany get another turn in this game? Because these demons are big. Yeah. They have Menace and Lifelink. So Jason is going to be able to present 14 power worth of attackers. Tiffany does have some blocks.
Yeah. Sunspine Lynx. I mean, all these demons fly, right? No, they don't. Okay.
The Steam Core flies because it has flying on the card. Yeah, we couldn't get any audio on the judge call, but it might have something to do with the resolution of the saga, the timing.
Right. So, Chapter 3. Was it a May?
Yes, that is an optional ability on Awaken the Honored Dead.
Bringer. You got another spider? Wunderbar. Okay, well, that's one way to clear the board and go to game 3. Huh. Righty-ho. So everything dies. And anything not killed this way that's in the yard comes back.
All right, so Superior Spider-Man is entering as a battle as a copy of Bringer of the Last Gift, which says when it enters, if you cast it, which you did in the case of Superior Spider-Man, each player sacrifices all other creatures they control. Then each player returns all creature cards from their graveyard that weren't put there this way.
Yeah.
Now, the way that we were displaying that Arden.
Because Superior Spider-Man... Oh, is that... Superior Spider-Man doesn't exile it, right? It just becomes a copy of it.
Yeah, that's my question is, was the Arden still in the graveyard?
Yeah, it is in the graveyard, so it should come back then. Because it's there, but Superior Spider-Man is a copy of it. It's not exiling it to become a copy of it.
That would be my interpretation as well.
Oh, no, wait, sorry. When you do, exile that card. So it shouldn't be there. Yes, there we go. Reading the whole card explains the card.
So you exile Arden and then turn your Spider-Man into a copy of it. Got it.
That makes more sense. Nice. So that is a disgusting resurrection here from Jason. The Harvester of Miseries ETB will enters effect. Will kill the 2 little hired claws that come back, and now you got to think it's just all right. Turn comes back to me, and I kill you with a whole bunch of demons.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's like, all right, I'm going to downgrade your army from these 4 scary creatures into the 2 hired claws. Simultaneous to that, I'm going to bring in Harvester of Misery to kill off your 2 hired claws. Now you have nothing against my, 22 power worth of creatures?
Yeah, roughly. Okay, they're not all demons, but they're pretty scary. This is what nightmares are made of. Spirit, an avatar, a demon. And this guy also comes off of Suspend here, so... Overlord of the Baelmerk times 2. Or impending, not Suspend. And that looks like it is going to do it. Tiffany can't come back from that position once Superior Spider-Man returns as Bringer of the Last Gift. So, game number 3. What does Tiffany now have to do to get the win here and remain undefeated?
She's just got to do what she did in game 1, which is go fast. Now, one thing that does jump off the page is that Tiffany does not have access to any graveyard hate. Many decks in Standard, you're going to see some number of, Ghost Vacuum, Soul Guide Lantern type stuff because that's the way, or that's part of their balanced recipe for fighting the Is It Cauldron deck. But Tiffany's mono red deck, she's decided, I'm not looking for a balanced recipe. I'm looking to do my thing, and that's good enough at face value against the Is It Cauldron deck, the mono red fast game plan. I don't even want to slow myself down by turning to cards like Ghost Vacuum.
Yeah.
But here in this corner case, 4% of the field matchup that she's facing, she probably does miss it in the sideboard. Yeah,
so it basically goes back to then game 1 mindset, kill you as quick as I can, and then if it's turn 4 or 5, rely on stuff like Sunspine Links, getting crafty with, the attacking or, targeting my own creatures to try and deal face damage without having to do combat.
Totally. I love the Sunspine Links is coming in. I could see Vengeful Possession stealing like a cheeky win under the right conditions. Notably, Jason's deck doesn't have a lot of cheap creatures that are going to come down early and be targets for stuff like Burst Lightning or Torch the Tower or whatever it might be. So I could see Tiffany kind of reducing her count of those cheap burn spells in favor of Sunspine Links and Vengeful Possession instead.
Alrighty, friends, if you are interested in attending one of these events, there's just one more until the end of the year, I believe, and that is going to be SCGCon Las Vegas. There's a regional championship there. It is modern, so if you want to jump in and try one of the older formats in Magic, or if you just want to come and play whatever it is that you want to, get involved in. There's Commander, there's Seal, there's Cube. Everything and anything goes on at these SCG Cons. The Regional Championship also offered up spots for future Premier Play events. So go visit starcitygames.com/SCGCon. That is November 21st to 23rd. Hashtag SCG Vegas. You gonna get that one, Reed? You like Modern.
I do like Modern. I had a great time watching SCG Houston, which was the first of those 2 Modern RCs that happened last weekend. So yeah, for better or for worse, I'm just gonna be watching from home that time around. I'd love to compete, but it's a little far for me.
Yeah, that is pretty far. North America is a pretty big continent.
No kidding.
Europeans don't understand. They're like, oh yeah, it's just the city over, right? Yeah, it's like 3 hours away, friend. Oh. All right, let's see. Let's get a great game 3 here between these 2 very different archetypes. Very fun to watch, though, because you can be dead at any point with either of these decks. Turn 1 here for Tiffany. We do have a Hard Claw down, and that is what she loves to see. Well, hey, intimidation tactics. Let's take a look at the hand here for Tiffany. We have a Hellkite, a Razorkid Needlehead, and another Hard Claw alongside 2 lands.
So this play is bringing up some, past trauma for me because it resembles so much the, I'm going to shock myself and thought seize you in Modern against Burn, which it's like, okay, I feel really grateful that I have a turn 1 play and that I have just something cheap to interact. On the other hand, the 2 life that you're paying from the Watery Grave under bad conditions can, that can be sort of enough.
Yeah.
That could be what Tiffany wanted to get out of the card in her hand anyway. So it's something for Jason, but it's not as good as having Stab would have been to actually take a threat off the battlefield, or certainly not as good as Untapped Swamp to make the same play.
Yeah, absolutely. But on the plus side, the biggest threat in hand taken care of. Razorkin Needlehead is going to get dinging every time Jason draws. And we also have Hired Claw dealing the non-combat damage every time it attacks. What's the second play here now for Jason, as the turn is his? Do we have more removal? Certainly hope so. It's going to be Dredger's Insight. Okay, this is an interesting include in some of these lists, where basically it mills some stuff for you, and then every time something comes out of the bin, which can be a lot, if Bring of the Lost Gift hits, you gain a bunch of life. So
yeah, so a random mill here. It hits Arden, which is very, very, very strong, but still, as we saw in the previous game, requires at least a second creature in the graveyard before it can be at its full value.
Yeah, it's a pretty miserable mill, unfortunately.
And Dredger's Insight can take any of these cards, but you'll only gain the life if it's a non-land permanent.
Yeah.
So overall, Jason has made relevant plays on the first and second turn of the game, but a really promising start for Tiffany.
Yeah.
On the play, 1-drop, 2-drop, not running into any removal spells yet. So if she could just get this over with and give Jason as little time as possible, she is totally enacting the game plan that she's trying for.
Ding ding, firing on all cylinders here. 2 Hard Claws now, and mana left over to pump up the one attacking if she so chooses, but it is a second copy of Razorkid Needlehead, so now taking 2 on the draw here. Jason's going down to 8, and he's in big trouble.
Yeah, he's in huge trouble. I mean, look at this. 4 creatures deployed in the first 3 turns after getting hit with intimidation tactics.
Goodness me. Jason's mathing here is like, can I even do anything here?
He might just be dead. I mean, he might have, the turn 4 combo all rolled up, and he's just never even going to see a turn 4.
Aggro decks do love being on the play. Because, it's 2 damage from the Hired Claws. And then 4 creatures with no blockers currently. And then if Jason does get to a draw step, he just has 2 Razorkid Needlehead triggers to deal with.
Right. So we know Tiffany's last card is a land. It's the Soulstone Sanctuary. So if you just dump your 4 mana into pumping your Hired Claws, that's going to be 8 damage from combat, 2 from the Hired Claw triggers, and 2 from the Razorkin Needlehead triggers. So that's 12. So even a single removal spell will not save Jason. A couple of points of life gain from Dredger's Insight will not save Jason. A single blocker won't. So, yeah, I mean, it's I don't know if his deck really has the tools available to get out of this situation at such an early stage.
Based on the time he's tanking, I think he doesn't have an answer here either. But we press on. Let's see. 2 mana tapped here now for Jason Weiss on Sultai Reanimator. Looking like he's going to take his first loss of the day to mono red in the hands of Tiffany Calandro. Big thinkies here for Jason. Thinking of absolutely every possible way that he could do this. And yeah, if that Watery Grave was a swamp in the beginning of the match, perhaps he might have a chance here with a removal spell. But, okay, Overlord of the Baelmerk. Mill. Nope. Gets that, gains a life off of Superior Spider-Man leaving the yard. And then... Shucks. Oof. Just has to pass a turn back. No 4th land drop.
Yeah, so all Tiffany has to do is trigger and activate her cards on the battlefield, and that will be enough.
Sideways. Good gravy. That is what you want to see out of your mono red deck when you are playing them at a tournament. So pump up for both creatures as well. Do some quick math, and that's going to be it. GG to Tiffany Calandro. Advances to 3-0, Reed. Pretty much the perfect